Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Codi Ann Smith and today I have a video for the healers, the light workers, the highly sensitive people, and the empaths. And I feel so passionate to speak to these types of people because I am one of these people as well. And so I understand the archetype very well. And so today I wanted to touch on a subject that I think a lot of people have covered, but it's something that, like, if we can hear something from somebody once, it might not click. But if we hear something from a different person, it's like it totally makes sense. And today I wanted to talk about energy vampires and how to tell the difference between a true energy vampire and somebody who's been bit. Right? So you might have asked yourself before, because you came into contact with these types of people, if you were actually the energy vampire. And then it wouldn't make sense and it felt a little bit off, because how could you possibly be this energy vampire when you have such a deep sense of empathy and this calling to heal the world? How could you possibly be an energy vampire and have that other part of you at the same time? It doesn't feel like it makes sense. And this is such a common thing when it comes to us healers, empaths, light workers, highly sensitives that are awakening to our purpose work, is that we run into these contradictions that are super confusing to get through sometimes. And so I laid out some specific differences between the true energy vampire, and if you've just been bitten. And now I don't want this to come off as some kind of like victim mentality, because the truth is nobody can actually really do anything to us. But when we're unaware of our power and we're giving our power away, then it's really easy to attract these types of people to us. And with the strong heart that we have, that full heart that we have, that where we want to help heal the world and the people in it, we have this intense feeling of having the weight of the world on our shoulders, that we kind of take on the role as the fixer sometimes. And sometimes in an unaware state, we will cut ourselves off from our own source because of the people and energy that we're putting ourselves around, but it happens so covertly that we're not even aware of it happening. Okay, so no blame here. This is all just about really understanding this dynamic and being able to pinpoint if you are around these types of people, so that you can either limit your time around them or completely sever ties. Because the truth is that as these healers and empaths and highly sensitive people that are here to change the world, we have to take care of ourselves first. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, which includes the people that we put ourselves around and the energy that we place ourselves around, then we're never going to be able to fulfill our soul's mission here. And so it's really important that we are able to do this. So without further ado, let's start with the characteristics of what an energy vampire is. Now, a lot of people would look at this and consider this person and give them a label as either a narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath or something along those lines. And that is the word that they use in the psychological field of study. But when we go more to the spiritual side and with a different understanding, then we can really look at their traits versus giving them a label. So yes, I'm using the label energy vampire for lack of a better word for this understanding of this archetype. Okay, so how do you know that somebody is truly disconnected from their own source and they are affecting your energy in a very negative, low vibrational way? Well, they have specific characteristics. They tend to be stuck in the material world. So it's like they're not connected to something bigger than themselves. When you look into their eyes, sometimes it literally feels like they might be soulless. Now, let's be real here, we're never actually soulless, I don't believe. I mean, maybe we could be, but they just have this like empty look in their eyes where they don't have that spark and they don't have that life to them. And so they're really stuck in this dense material world, and they don't really understand that they have the ability to be connected to their higher source. So this might show up as being really materialistic, but it doesn't always have to be. I've met many, many energy vampires who are not really materialistic, but they are so stuck into this physical world of the way that we perceive things in this dimension that it's clear. So they complain often. This is a huge sign, is that they're always complaining. This tends to drain your energy because you want nothing more than to help them, but you're waiting for them to give you a chance to say, hey, look at it from this perspective, and you're coming at it from like a heart space. But the thing is that they don't. And if they do listen to you for just a smidge of a second while in between their complaints, it's like they don't even hear what you're saying and they just go back to complaining. And so the more that we put ourselves around that, we start to get drained and we don't even realize it. So then the second thing is that they blame everybody else. And this goes right along with excuses. So they blame everybody else for everything in their life. It's your fault that they feel bad. It's your fault that their car broke down. It's your fault that they're yelling at you. It's your fault that they're complaining. Everything is always your fault when you are around this archetype of person. Okay? I want you to realize this so you could start to back up and look and say, am I around somebody that does this? Am I around somebody that's always saying that this is your fault and never taking responsibility for their own feelings and actions and that type of thing? They see the world as if the world is against them. And this goes along with complaining and blaming because they act like the world is out to get them. They don't live in the space of the world is creating these circumstances for me. They live in a space of this is happening to me. And it's very difficult for us because we know that we're creators, right? And we're trying to awaken other people to this truth and reality. But while we're trying to do this, they are unable to see this and they completely block it off. And you find yourself like trying to help them because you really just want them to see this because you know their potential, but they are unwilling because they have their own free will. And if we're trying to change that, it's not going to happen. And it's only going to further drain us. So they tend to have a very low sense of self-awareness. This one is so huge, like, oh my God. They don't even know. They don't realize what they're doing to people around them or how they're affecting people around them, I should say, not doing, right? Because we're not victims. But we can't deny the fact that being around specific people affect us energetically and emotionally in different ways. But these people are completely unaware of how they are affecting other people. They're completely unaware because they're so self-absorbed that they're not paying attention to any of that. And so they also might feel really emotionally cold and disconnected or distant. So these people crave to be close to people, but their own blocks will not allow them to be that way, and then they blame you for it. So they might say something like, well, you just never give me hugs. And that's a need that I need met is a hug from other people because I never had that growing up. But the truth is that we have to meet our own needs first so that we are a whole person and not expect other people outside of us to come to our rescue and fill these voids for us, because that's where we see these problems. But the more that you try to tell this person that, they don't see it. Instead, they're going to try to take stabs at you and look at your past and come up with a bunch of different reasons why you are actually the one who needs the healing, why you're the one who is disconnected, and you're not the one who's paying attention to their needs. This is how these people are. And there's nothing we can do about that except for accept them for who they are, but still know that we have the power to choose if we want to put ourselves around that. Okay? They have no regard for your feelings. They say things, they do things without you in mind, right? Because these people cannot seem to put themselves in your shoes. So they have no regard for your feelings. A perfect example of this might be that you are excited about something. Let's say, oh my gosh, you manifested something so awesome. You manifested money on the ground, and like, holy crap, you know, that's like so awesome to you. And you're telling them this story and they're just like, yeah, cool. That is just an example of how they might treat you. And then when you say something about it, when you say something about the fact that they literally just brushed you off and that they're like downplaying your happiness and they're not meeting you where you're at, then you're the needy one. You're the needy one who is trying to get your needs met from somebody else, when in reality, I think that most of us can agree that it's more of a preference. It's a preference to be around somebody who is excited for you, right? It's not that you need somebody to be excited for you, but it's a preference. You want to be around people that can meet you at your level and be like, that's awesome. Not around somebody who's like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, so there's this, they can easily shift the perspective back onto you. So be aware of that. They tend to be very self-centered, and they take the conversation back to them all the time. It's always about how you made them feel, and they never will see how their actions are, right? Because they can't see themselves. They are lacking this sense of self-awareness. So they literally always take the conversation back to them. You might find yourself like going in circles with these people, which leads me to the next thing, the circular conversations. You might be going in circles with these people, trying to talk sense into them, but they're just not seeing it because everything is always your fault. It doesn't matter if what it could possibly be, it is always going to be your fault. And this is because they always bring the conversation back to them. Well, you made me feel this way. Well, maybe if this and this and this happened, I wouldn't have done that. And they start to blame you, and it gets messy. And so, the biggest sign, we're to the biggest sign now of somebody being a true energy vampire, is that they're not willing to rise to the occasion and being the co-creator that they are. And what I mean by this is, if you are talking to somebody who is a true energy vampire and you're telling, you know, they're mingling with you because they're trying, you know, they want to appear like they're not going to be doing these things, right? This energy sucking stuff. But so they're like on your level kind of. And then when you talk about how we're creators of our reality or something like that, then they might go and be like, yeah, we are, you know, yeah, that's awesome. We are the co-creators of our reality. But the difference is that they are not willing to then take responsibility and say, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I was just doing that, and start to shift their mindset. They don't shift their mindset. They stay in that victim mentality, that poor me, the world is against me, making excuses and complaining. And they will not see themselves enough to rise to the occasion and say, oh, thank you for pointing that out to me. Because now I know, so now I can make a different decision now. Because the truth is that there's no such thing as actual time. You know, maybe in the physical world, we have the illusion of time, but the truth is time is really just a bunch of nows. And every second of every day, we have a choice to choose what we're going to be thinking, how we want to feel, and the circumstances of our life based on the dominant feelings and thoughts that we have and our beliefs. But with a true energy vampire, they are not willing to see themselves enough to rise to the occasion. Does that make sense? If this makes sense, please leave a comment down below so that I know that this is resonating and making sense to you. I originally didn't want to film this video because I don't like jumping into the negative stuff, but I feel like it's just really, really important for us healers and light workers and these people that are here to heal the planet and help raise the consciousness that we become aware of these situations. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, now we know what a true energy vampire is about. Now it's time to really tap in to see if we can figure out the signs that we've been, metaphorically speaking, been bit by one of these vampires. And so I want to point out again, we're not actual victims. We do have free will and we get to choose if we want to continue to be around these people. Not to mention, it's really beneficial to do the shadow work behind this and figure out what that person could be teaching you. So if you're around somebody like that, what are they teaching you about yourself that needs healed? This is a very important factor when it comes to healing, is that we look at the external world as a reflection of us, like a mirror, so we can then look inside of ourselves and heal ourselves, become that next level, right? Okay, so when this happens, it's because of our lack of awareness of this energy vampire. We're not really in tune with the fact that they are actually this way, because we can honestly become naive to some extent when we want to go out and share our gifts with the world and step into that healer position fully. And we have that need to want to make the world a better place and help humanity. It's like the weight of the world on our shoulders to accomplish this mission can be very tough, okay? So don't beat yourself up, no shame. If you do fall into this category, just please realize that you don't have to stay there, and I know that you will, because if you're really truly here to heal the world, and that you know that it takes healing yourself first before you can go and heal the rest of the world, right? So anyways, so you might be overly critical about yourself. If you're around these types of people, you might be super overly critical about yourself because you have been exposed to these types of people who've been draining your energy and kind of messing with your belief systems, because you've placed yourself around these people that are constantly distilling beliefs in you that you are the bad person. You have caused all these problems for them. You have done all these things that, oh my gosh, how could you even think that you're a good person? So you might be overly critical about yourself. That is one huge sign that you might have been bitten by one of these energy vampires. Now, this obviously can come from like childhood stuff too, which if you really think about it, the only reason why we would be attracting these energy vampires is because of something that's happened to us back in our past that we're trying to heal and integrate now. So it does make sense, and it all falls into place. You might be overly defensive. So you might think that somebody is always trying to blame you for something because you're so used to other people blaming you that immediately you put your defenses up and you're like, I didn't do that. No, I didn't. I'm not taking responsibility for that. And you get defensive. And this also shows that, you know, it might be a lack of boundaries, because when anger becomes a boundary, that just means it's been overstepped over and over and over again. So, if you're extra defensive, if you're always on defense, or you're always tense, you're walking around always tense, that is your body's signal to you that you are in a very defensive state, or that you're not allowing yourself to receive because you are protecting yourself, okay? So you might be pessimistic. You might be walking around being pessimistic, and it's really a strange feeling though, because deep down you know that that's not your true nature, but you're walking around feeling that way. And when you're walking around feeling that pessimism, you're like, you almost can't stand it yourself, because you know that that is not your true nature and that is not how you want to be. But you're just like wondering what the heck is going on? Why am I so pessimistic? But it takes being able to really look at your environment around you, and have you been putting yourself around these energy vampires? And if you have, it might be a big reason why that you are pessimistic, because we tend to take on the energy in which we place ourselves around. So if we're always around that negativity, then it's gonna rub off on us, and we're gonna be bitten by that energy vampire. So you might be kind of walking around with this tunnel vision where you can't really see the limitlessness of the world. You only see right in front of you. And that might be a huge sign that you have been in this position as well. You might feel disconnected from yourself, mainly because you feel like you have to protect yourself from other people. And you just feel really like you don't want to be in your body all the time because of all the trauma that you've been around by being around these types of people, these archetypes. So that might be one. You might be really fatigued because you might be that type of person who is relentless when you're trying to complete your soul's mission, and you're like really trying to show these people like just how much that they are ruining their own life. And you might just be like really exhausting yourself trying to prove your point, or trying to help, or trying to change the person. That's another thing. You know, we can't change anybody. The truth is, and it's sad, and you know, we have our own free will, but you know, it can feel really defeating sometimes because you're like, I know what's best, but we can't interfere with their life lessons. So you might be fatigued and you might be moody. If you find yourself being moody or you snap at people, it might be because of this reason. So really look into your life and see. And then you might have fallen into addiction and stuff like that because you're around people who bring out the worst in you, right? And you could feel powerless at that point. So it's like your light is being overshadowed and casted over by this darkness, and you know that the light is out there, but it's like barely shining through, and you just don't know what to do, and you fall into an addiction. It could be food, it could be substances, it doesn't really matter. I have a video on addiction. If you guys want to go watch that, check it out. But the biggest sign, let's get to the biggest sign that you have been bitten, that you are actually not a true energy vampire, is that you are willing to change and rise to the occasion. So when people point something out to you, you're like, oh, okay, yes, that is sabotaging what my goals are, and I'm going to change that since I know that I'm a co-creator of my reality. I know the importance of truly changing my thought process in the moment and being conscious of these things. And thank you for showing me. That means you're rising to the occasion. That means that you are taking responsibility. That means that you are not willing to stay in that low vibrational place, and you want more, and you are willing to really step into that. You don't wait to make this decision. You don't say, well, someday it's going to happen. You make it now because you realize that you are the creator of your life in every second of the day. Every moment of the day, you are setting yourself up for whatever vibrational frequency that you're emitting out to the world. And so since you know that, you are appreciative of when people are pointing these things out to you, and you are willing to rise to the occasion. That is the hugest sign that you know that you are not a true energy vampire and that you might have been bitten. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and stay tuned for future videos on more tips and stuff for the healers, the light workers, the empaths, the highly sensitive people. My channel is really about helping you guys heal and step into your purpose work. So the more that we heal, the more that we can raise our vibration in this world and be of service and really step into our soul's desire and our soul mission here. So that's what I am here for, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day today. I will talk to you guys another time. Bye.